Hello everyone, it's Andrea and welcome to my channel. I have a very special video today. I'm kicking off a week-long collaboration with the girls of the creative design team, and we are celebrating Julie's monumental milestone of 10,000 YouTube subscribers. So congratulations, Julie. We're all going to celebrate you all week long, and I'm so happy to be able to kick off this collaboration. So let me show you what we're going to do. We're each going to pick a video or a project that Julie has done over on YouTube, and I have selected her video where she created this double page layout here, and it is a video that she did, a page that she did in honor of her big lifetime trip with Janice to Alaska last year. I've always loved Julie's style, and this layout is just one of those quintessentially Julie, beautiful, elegant layouts. And so I really wanted to use it. It just so happens that this layout is from one of our design team sketchbooks, creative design team sketchbooks, and I just love that I have an easy way to put this together. This sketchbook on the bottom side here gives me every measurement that I need to create this beautiful layout. And so that's what I'm going to use. If you're interested, I'll put the link to this sketchbook and the rest down below in this video's description. And all of us have decided to work with the same photo. The girls and I, as you most likely know, we took a trip last year to Vancouver and to Victoria, British Columbia, and this is from our trip to Victoria. We were in Bouchard Gardens together, and we took this photo, or somebody took this photo of us so kindly on the little Japanese bridge, and it's just so striking. We loved this experience together. The whole entire trip was wonderful, but this time in the garden was just magical for girls like us that love to scrapbook. And so this is the photo that I chose. There's two that are very similar, and I'm going to incorporate both of them into the layout, but this is the one that I picked, kind of like cozied up to Julie here. And since it's Julie's celebration, I thought this was just the perfect little way to celebrate that. So this will be the star of my show. And then let me just show you, I printed out several other photos. Here we are again, we're on like a reflecting pool in the Japanese garden. I thought that was perfect. We're just missing Janice. Janice must have been the photographer. She was our photographer through much of this little outing. Here's another one that somebody so kindly took. This one I'm not hugging on Julie there, but it's cute, and I want to put that one in the layout as well. And then I have used Project Life to print out two photos on each of these. And this is a little dragon here. I hope you can see. We just had a magnificent time because each little garden area in Bouchard Gardens was themed. And so the flowers were different and the landscaping was different. And this was just a vibrant little peaceful Zen area. So let me show you the supplies that I think we're going to be using in this layout. So the first thing that I have here are my mixed media florals paper. And I just love this paper. I'm showing you the front and back of each of these sheets right here on my desk. And I am definitely going to be using something along the lines of this particular botanical paper. I just think this is perfect. It works so well with all of our colors here. I'm going to lift this up a little bit closer for you to see. But it has some true red, kind of like the bridge. And it picks up the coral in Jama's shirt, and it picks up the raspberry color in my shirt as well. There's like more raspberry color, and then kind of like the coral that Jama's wearing, as well as like the accents of the deeper red. So I think that this is the perfect paper to kind of complement our photo here. And of course the greens, it's just beautiful and perfect. I'm also going to bring in some black because, as you might be able to tell, some of the railing is black here. And I just think that'll pull it all together. Several of the girls were wearing darker clothes, and I think it'll just be perfect. So you might even see some of these kind of used here. I'm not so sure how much of this particular little product I'm going to use, but this is the mixed media. Let me just look at the name of it. Mixed Media Florals, Memories and More card pack. And what I like about it is that there are plenty of cards here. There's 2 of each. And they just have fronts and backs that are really usable. Some titles. And then when you get down to the bottom here, there are like some stickery kind of elements. And this might come into play in this layout. I'm not sure what we're going to use of it, but I know that I'm probably going to use an element or two, especially maybe a little card to create a little journaling or title area. That's a very big possibility. I've also brought in this Delightful Wishes stamp set, and the reason that I'm bringing this one in is because I absolutely love the dies. They're optional, but this one kind of cuts out some negative little flowery pieces. And this one over here, it just reminds me of like a cherry blossom tree, something like that. And I just think that that is very Japanese feeling to me as well. So you might see this stamp set come into play, and these dies. I think this is just such a fabulous set. And honestly, the little sketchiness of the stamps would work perfectly too, I believe. So that is going to definitely get used. And now, here's story time. I haven't been feeling so good. I had to take green nail polish off my nails. So if you see some green on my nails, you're not imagining it. So I threw on some really quick nail polish because I couldn't get all the green off for St. Patrick's Day. And I went to peel this off the mat, and I really thought that it was dry. My nails were dry, but they're not. So I have a smudge. And instead of recutting this, because I'm feeling kind of wiped out, I think I'm just going to exaggerate the smudges. I have another layer planned for on top of this title. This is just a title I made out of my Cricut. I can tell you what fonts I use down below in this video's description, but I'm going to just play up that smear right there, and I'm just going to use my gold shimmer brush here and just, you know, put some artificial smear on here, some more to make it look like it was purposeful. You know, you got to go with what you've got sometimes, right? And I have a second layer here cut out of red, and I'm just going to go ahead and glue that together when the time comes. Let me just go ahead. I'm going to start getting my bases prepared. Let me bring in that sketch, and you might be able to tell that there's actually 3 layers. So you've got the base page, then you've got this little outline here, and then like a white background. So I've just got to decide. I think we will stick probably to this C right here will probably be white, and the A will probably be black. I just need to decide what little accent color I want to bring in there, and it's probably going to end up being something green, maybe something gold. I've gone ahead and I have gutted out the inside of my black sheet, my 12 by 12, and I just went around and turned it at 1 inch and went between 11 and 1, and that enabled me to save a 10 by 10 piece of black cardstock from each of my base pages, and I'm going to use that to mount my photos to it and create a layer. And then this is an 11 by 11 inch piece of white, and I am going to need 1 layer in between them. So as I'm looking at this photo, and I brought in one of the cards just for color purposes. I think we're going to go with the bigger scale, but I wanted to bring this in just to see how it would look. And I was really torn because I don't know, I could have gone with a nice red layer around the outside, but I kind of want to play up the reds on the page itself. And I needed something that would pop. Solid gold was just too much gold. So I went with something that I think is going to be a little unique. And you might notice that we've got some like more yellowy greens here. And then we've got some more bluish greens up here. And that's pretty much the way it goes through all of these photos. I have just so many greens, and you know, as I lay this next to this patterned paper, it's going to pick up both of those, so I can go with whatever color green I want. So I have quite an unusual choice here, and let's see what you guys think about it. I have a piece from our Season of Elegance paper collection, and I do believe this is still in stock, and you're just going to see a really thin portion of this, something like that, and I just kind of think it sets off the whole project. What do you guys think? I'm going to actually try to just go a little bit closer here to show you. Let's see. Can you see that? I think that that'll work. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cut both of these. I'm going to cut these as well, both sheets of this Season of Elegance, so that I can save the majority of the middle of it. As I mentioned, I want to bring in my gold shimmer brush, and I wanted to kind of give a texture to the offset of my title. Now, that will cover up that little boo-boo, but I also want to just create a little interest in a few places on my bases. And I'm thinking right here, I need a little bit, right here, and then probably up here, just a tiny bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try a real Julie technique here. And I'm going to just put a little puddle of this. I'm going to try to pull this off without it splattering all over. Let's see what's left in this particular brush. I haven't used this one in a really long time. So I'm just going to put a little bit down here onto my tabletop. Let me shake that just a bit more and see if we can't pick up more of the gold. I know it's probably really hard to see with this marbled backgrounds here. And in fact, you know what? I'm just going to, let's pull this right in right now. And I'm just going to brush some of it here and there, and we'll see what we get. I'm going to brush it over where I did smear a lot. And I like it because we're going to get just a little bit of glimmer, but it's not, it's still looking black, which I like. So just a little bit of gold here and there. So I think that we'll handle that way. Just a little bit of shimmer. And we'll set that aside to dry. Okay, and let's move this into screen. What I want to do is I want to just take a little piece of plastic that I have off to the side here. This was just a wrapper that we've just used. And I'm just going to smush a little bit of this up here. And I don't really want to splatter. I want to control where this goes. And I know you're not really going to see a ton of it, but you're going to see some of it, I think. And I hope that you can pick that up in the camera as well. We're just going to go ahead and I'm just going to put a little bit down here in this area too. And let me tell you about this day. We were, I don't know, I think I'm going to speak for all of us, all 7 of us. We were looking forward to this trip to Victoria so much. Now, we were and we weren't. And you want to know why we weren't? Because we had to get up at the crack of dawn to catch the ferry that would bring us and our minivan across the Sound to Victoria. And I think I could be wrong, but I think it was like an hour and a half ferry boat ride on the way there. So we had to get up so early. Now, when we're all together, you can only imagine photos are like the first thing on our mind. So we wanted to get showered and look our best. So we were up really, really early to make that happen. And let me tell you, we were in the minivan by like, I don't know, somewhere between 3 and 4 in the morning. It was a really, really early call, but it turned out to be just so worth it. We all knew it would be worth it. And you might remember we've also all done a collaboration where we scrapbooked our tea in Victoria. We started our day by going to tea in the Empress Hotel. So I'll link that video collaboration, that video down below in this video's description as well. So you can check that out. It's just, that's how we began our day before we went over to Bouchard Gardens. Okay, so my base pages are all done. I think we're ready to go here. I just need to start bringing in some of the elements. We've used our Seasons of Elegance paper around here. I love that green border. And as I started building my layout, you know, I needed some other colors. So I'm just going to let's just put this down here for a moment. And I'm going to lay this one. This was a little bit diagonal like that. I think what I'm going to do right away is I'm going to commit to putting down a little bit of tape down in this corner. And we'll just get something that holds the position of that sketch just a little bit. And I think we're going to also just put some right into this corner. And the reason that I'm being pretty chintzy is we've got a lot of paper tucking to go, that's going to go on here. Now this one we're going to keep straight, I think. And I'm thinking is somewhere about there. And sketches, you can vary the sketches a bit, but I think that that's probably about the right spot. So I'm just going to make sure that that's straight to my bases here. And we're going to, work with that. Now that'll allow me to tuck all these pieces here. I have labeled a lot of these pieces. Let's see if I can't find them now. I have cut the pieces to the length that was suggested, and I've labeled them so that I know that they match the little cutting diagram here. And I'm just going to start tucking. So I'm thinking that these guys are they're going to go kind of together. So I'm going to just adhere them together before we tuck those behind. And that is going to look something like this. I know we're on a dark background here. It looks like it's about 1/2 inch from the top and maybe like 5/8 from the left edge. So I'm going to get that into position right behind this photo. Start with the biggest pieces first, and then we will go from there. So I want to be able to see a good portion of this floral piece. I think that that is like the most important patterned cardstock that I have going on here. I'm going to raise that up just a bit. It looks like it's just shy of 1/2 inch from the top of the white here. And I think that's a pretty good position for this. Then I started looking at my other pieces, and I knew that I needed to go ahead. And once again, I needed that floral. So that's going to go down here. That floral is just so bold. It's just so important to this layout that I think that it's going to look great if I put that right about there. I want to see quite a bit of it, right? A little bit's going to be covered up over here on the side. So I want to just make sure. Let me just move that over just a tiny bit more. I'm going to move that over to the right. You know, this trip, I'm sure you're going to hear all the stories as we go through the week, but Erin was really our designated driver. She's fearless when it comes to, you know, going different places and driving. She told us that if she could drive, I think it was Florence, if she could drive in Florence, she could literally drive anywhere. She's our bravest soul, I would say. Jama did drive us back on the ferry and then back to our home, which was in West Vancouver. We stayed in this like beautiful mansion on the hill altogether. But they just did such an excellent job, and I was just a passenger princess all week. On this particular trip, Katie sat in the front. She was the navigator. We just had so much fun. Now, I tried out a few pieces. I had to audition a few pieces here, and I went with more paper from the Mixed Media Florals. And so I had this piece. It was left from this, and I tried putting that in here. But honestly, it was just like, it was a weird color green. I didn't really love it, and it just didn't do this layout justice. So I decided that I would try this paper since it had, you know, the green, the blue that is in Julie's jacket, Janice's shirt, and then it had some corally colors, but that didn't really do it for me either. So while I had out that Season of Elegance paper, I went stash diving into it, and I decided that the best bet would be probably to bring in a piece of the red. I like that little red pop here. It kind of grounds this white and black paper here, and it just, yeah, it gives us a good edge. We're going to bring some red in here and here, and I think it's going to be a good balance of the red. Now, as I was saying, we were so prepared for this trip. Like, we were all just waiting to get photos, you know, tons of photos. And what more, like, where else could you go, you know, that's a better place to take photos than a garden on a gorgeous day. So if you're ever in Vancouver, if you're ever cruising to Victoria, I should say, this garden is just phenomenal. And it was built on the site of an old quarry. And the man that owned the quarry, his wife, went ahead and she started designing these gardens with some of the employees. And I think that they just did such a fabulous job. It's gorgeous what they created. So I have layered. This particular photo needs a second mat. So I've used that Season of Elegance, the red. I'm just going to keep continuing to bring that throughout the layout. And let's start to place some of these. So we've got that little dragon. He's really cute. And I think he's going to go somewhere about there. Let's see if this placement, you know, works out. We've got a lot of photos to fit here. And I want to make sure that we get them in the right spots. So we have 3 photos. And usually I would balance the photos. You know, if I had 2 flowers and I had one Japanese garden, I would typically, you know, put flower, sign, flower. The reason I'm doing this over here is because there's going to be a clustered element over in this corner according to the sketch. And I want to be able to have some room here if something overlaps. So I'm liking how that's looking. I think I'm going to start by gluing these 3 photos down here. Okay, now let's look at the pieces we have over here. We've got one bigger piece, and then we've got 2 littler pieces right there and there. So let's put our big one down first. We will tuck that right over here. And it looks like that one goes pretty straight up and down. This little one is going to tuck in the back. It's going to go something like that. And I can see the gold smooshing that we did just a little bit back there. And just a little piece will make a big impact. I'm going to lift up this photo here and just slide this under. Okay, I'm liking how that looks. I hope you are too. And let me just say, now we need to create 3 clusters. We've got 3 clusters of flowers, 2 of which have tags. So I had to go digging. Now, if you didn't have tag die cuts, you could always Cricut cut. You could actually just create some tags using some scissors, and that would work to whatever you have. But since I had these, I'm going to use them. I'm going to bring these in. This is the Greetings of the Season stamp set, and then there were dies that I purchased. There was lots of tags. So I decided to use this bigger one right here. And the reason that I went with this one is that I felt that the gentle curvature here really mimicked the curvature in the bridge. And I liked that. I also went and I cut a little one, even though there is no need for this according to the sketch. I cut a little one too. The reason I did the little one is because, you know, I'm going to put a big tag here and a big tag here, and they're going to have a bold contrasty color. So I wanted just a little of that color there. So we have a nice little triangle when it comes to our embellishment clusters. And I think that's important. So if we have these big bold colors in 2 areas, we really need a little area there. So let me show you what color I brought in. And it actually happens to be the back side of this big, beautiful piece here. And what I did was I just cut the center out. I didn't want to cut down any of the florals because I wanted to save those for a potential layout or a card. And why cut away and use the back side of these pretty florals if the center was just blank white? So this is the color that I was shooting for. And I like this color because it plays off of Julie's jean jacket. It plays off of the floral aspect right here. You can see some of the blue reflecting from the sky into the water here. Janice's shirt. I just think it really is just a pop of color that we need in this layout. And of course it is seen in this floral paper right here. What I've done is I've cut out the 3 tags like I told you. So here's the back. These are white. And I'm going to end up tucking one here. And then, like I said, I wanted that little touch of blue down here to go with the 3rd cluster. Now, I'm not done with these little dies, but look at, they've got like this delicate little edge here. I'm just going to set these aside. I want a little more decoration out of these. And since we're using, told you we're going to use the dies from this Delightful Wishes set, I'm going to pick up this beautiful floral pattern here. And I'm just going to set this up. I'm going to open up my little die cut and emboss machine. I'm going to get the plates here. And I'm going to just make a little sandwich. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and just create like a little interest on just one side of this tag. And I'm going to do that like so. So I always have my base plates up higher. My second plate matches this little bevel part here. And then I cap it all and I make the top plate even with the base plate, the white plate down here. And I just find that that helps me die cut better on this machine if I have that sandwich. I wish this suction to the table, but it's such a lightweight little machine that it works little miracles. Let me show you. So I'm going to take that little die off. And can you guys see how beautiful that is? I think it's just a little hidden detail of texture here. And I think that that is just going to be so pretty. And I'm going to do that again. Let's bring this layout back in. And hopefully we can get this into frame. I think you guys get the gist of it. I'm going to just overlap my black in the center so you can see as we create. So I'm just going to go ahead and let's go ahead and just adhere a little bit of glue down to this. And I'm going to tuck this up and under. A lot of this tag is going to get covered. Now, it probably makes sense, you know, why we have the gold smooshing there, because it's just going to kind of extend up. And I have an element that I think is going to look great. And again, I'm going to tuck this one right over here. And, you know, I think I'm going to just slide that down. Okay, I like the placement of that. So we've got our two big tags. This little one, we're going to hold off because I don't quite know how my cluster is going to look and how it's going to work there. But let me just show you what else I've got. Now I have cut out, I've got a little die cut tray here, and I have used the Delightful Wishes. And like I told you, there was that delicious looking branch. I loved it. So we're going to use that. I've cut that out 3 times, and these are going to just kind of trail up the page. When I was a little girl, I had this, I didn't have a lot. We didn't have a lot. But one Christmas, Santa brought me this little Asian, it was a little plastic jewelry box, and it flipped open and had little drawers. And it just had these beautiful designs. It was black, and it had little designs like this that just went up it with some gold accents. And this totally reminds me of that. So I just absolutely adore these little sprigs. They just remind me of childhood, and I think they're perfect for, you know, for a garden trip here. And what I want to do is I just want to just put a little bit of glue here, just enough to tack it down, just a tiny bit. You don't need a lot. See if I can get enough on there so it'll stick. And I just want this to kind of like tuck in here also, and then just trail totally up the side here. Now, I think my tag was supposed to be a little higher. I'm going to move that up. And the reason I'm saying a little higher is because I'm going to move it up as high as I can to cover right here where the paper ends. So let's give ourselves a lot of space up here. So I'm just going to glue that right across here. Don't you just love that? I love the little cutout area there. And let's go over here. We'll do the same. I've managed to get this little branch tucked up in here. And now I just want to look at this. I think what I want to do is just run a little adhesive across this tag. And I think I'm going to just tuck it right in here. It's going to create a little landing zone for our next embellishments. And I think this little tree is going to kind of go across like this. I'm just going to tuck this under. I'm not going to commit to gluing that yet because I'm just not sure how our flowers are going to look. So speaking of flowers, I have decided to cut a bunch of leaves out of that Season of Elegance, and I've decided against using the side with the gold. I'm going to use the reversed side, which is a mottled green, and I think that looks much better. Speaking of that, I've got both pieces to the big flower here, and I just wanted to show you something. I decided I'm going to use the mottled background, and I'm going to use the gilded part as my front top layer. And what I've noticed is that there is a 2 leaf here, and then here is this very distinct, it's the most solid of all of the petals. And if I line those 2 pieces up, that solid petal with this bottom one here, that gives me the perfect fit every time. And I have gone ahead and glued all my layers of my title together. I just love this font, and it just cut with such detail on my Cricut Maker that it's just amazing. I used a little liquid adhesive on the back of the red to glue it to the black, and I've put some foam tape across the back, and I'm just going to go ahead and stick that right on here now. Now, I think it's supposed to go over the picture a little bit, and I think that that's probably a good bet. That'll give us the ability to then, we'll be able to see a lot more of this pretty white floral background paper there. I love the way that they came out. And now you can't tell where I got my nail polish onto the title because we put that gold there and it's mimicked a little bit here. I've got dimensionals on the back of these flowers, so we're just going to go ahead and adhere those down. And I think I want to put one here. Trying to keep them kind of close. Maybe that's a mistake. Maybe we should just, yeah, that one's stuck down pretty good. We're not moving it. Okay, so we're going to keep that one close to this one. And then over here, bring this into camera here. We're just going to tuck this down as well. And that'll help kind of cover up some of this, like I told you before. One more, we'll get that right there. And let's keep that one just a little bit closer to the other. And then the branches can kind of trail up. And now all that I need to do is grab these little leaves. You guys know me. I'm just going to bend these little leaves just a bit with my finger. We'll apply a liquid adhesive on the back. And then we'll just tuck them here and there on the flower. Now, before we take an up close look at our layout, I decided to bring in our Metallic Enamel Effects Basics Gold. And I wanted just a little bit more in this layout. I didn't want to overdo it though. So what I did was in each of my flowers, I found these little negative spots and I put 3 little dots of this enamel. Let me pick this layout up. And let's look at that title. I hope that you can see that little bit of glitter that the shimmer brush brought to the title. And look at those little clusters of flowers. Aren't they just perfect? And I just love, love, love this paper pack, this mixed media florals. Fabulous. We didn't end up using those little cards or the little tiny stickers. They're probably better sized for cards when I started looking at those. But the flowers that we made ourselves, gorgeous, I think. And just so Asian inspired, like the Japanese garden felt. Now, what I also did, and you might notice here, is I brought something unique in for our journaling spots. And since I was using that Christmas set for our tags, you notice that one down in the bottom there, that little one, I decided that I would use 4 of those that I cut from, just some of the leftover when I cut away the white. And I'm just doing white on white for my journaling spot. So it doesn't detract from the layout, but it actually gives it some texture. And that's what's great about that tone on tone. And just look at those little, let's see if we can get those little dots right there. I hope you can see the little dots of the metallic enamels. I think that just added the little design here that we had just cut out the little negative part, that just added to the tag. And I think that touch of blue, even putting it right here, it just really picks up the blue in this layout. And then let's look at this page. I just feel like this is just such a, this is such a good topic for Julie's 10,000 subscriber celebration, because Julie is like the queen of flowers. She hasn't met a flower that she didn't like yet, I'm pretty sure. And we just met so many beautiful flowers in that garden. This was just like the perfect day for 7 scrapbookers to spend together. And we just had so many photo ops and had so much fun and so many giggles. Such quality girl time with these ladies that I can't tell you how much that filled my cup being with them. And I can't wait to do it again. So until then, congratulations, Julie, on your 10K. That is just such an awesome accomplishment. And I hope that you come back all week long and enjoy all of the videos that everybody's posting. I know there's some surprise videos in there too, some surprise guests that I believe will be joining us in this collab besides the design team. Yeah, just be prepared for plenty of excitement when it comes to this collab. Thanks for watching and have a creative day.